the actual OBS. Let the thing
That would help.
connect. Yeah, that would help. On excellent connection. Should be show. Okay, it's showing this Starfeed title, Exalted Star Stream 12. I think are we live?
I have no idea. You're the one who runs this thing usually.
Yeah, I am going to check on something. Because I think it started automatically. I did not click a start stream button. Okay, well, we are live! So,
Yay.
yeah, check my channel and see if there's any sound issue. Just a quick moment.
Yay.
I mean, seems like we're doing okay. Yeah, I should probably start letting people know that we're streaming right now, so.
Again would help. But what do I know? I'm only a voice in the night. I'm just
Yeah,
gonna
I
say
guess I was wrong. I guess I wasn't gonna be ready at not at 9 p.m. I should have had this all set up perfectly at the moment. But yeah.
your brother wants to know if he can go back to work now.
Yes, go back to work. Oh, jeez. Or better yet, start working at different hours so you can watch these streams.
Mm-hmm.
Better yet,
Fair, fair, fair.
get a night job. That way you can see my streams right before you go to work.
Well, we can't really blame him too much. So, what have you wanted to talk about this week?
Alright, well, since I missed last week, there's probably a whole bunch of stuff to talk about, but let's focus on a few funny things I've uncovered. I mean, keeping to our Tide Pod generation, Xbox has now had to tweet out to everyone to stop vaping their Xbox.
Oh yeah, that whole thing.
I don't know why. In order for
I
that to
actually
happen, someone would have had to have done it.
Yes, they actually did, though. Mike, I'm going to tell you. So I actually know the full story on this one, and I'll actually explain that.
Yeah, go right ahead, because I need to be caught
So,
up on that one.
well, here's the thing: people were faking that the Xbox was actually having problems, and now was going up in smoke.
Yeah, I have heard about that one too.
That one, but it was fake. People were literally hooking up their vaping devices through the Xbox to create that effect.
Yeah.
So it's not just so; it's actually two stories in one.
Just why?
Um,
Who looks at the Xbox and think, yeah, that would make for a good vape?
dude, it was to get attention because new console generation,
Uh,
freak out people. A lot of people still have memories of the Ring of Death.
yeah. We've all gone through that. Even I've gone through that.
Yeah, a lot of people still have clear memories. And honestly, what's going to get you attention? Your console working perfectly fine, or like your console breaking apart on the first try?
How about getting a hat trick in Halo or Call of Duty? How about that? I mean, remember
No,
when people used to get attention for just doing good at video games?
we live in the like negative attention generation, Mike. Who fucking cares? I look, man. As much as look, a lot of people do this shit. It's attention. It sucks, but it
I
is what it is.
I'd imagine people would be using it as a bong first.
I don't know. It's very hard to smoke from a box unless like you like install like a little like sucker thing on it.
Yeah.
Like
I don't remember. Where was the
you're literally just inhaling smoke, dude. Which, which is not technically what like it's look. I'm just saying, man. It's a little bit. It's that whole thing. Look, a lot of people are looking for attention. It's a new console launch. Honestly, I'm not looking forward to any of what's going on right now
Yeah.
because of just general issues with the consoles. Like, it's kind of getting worse in a lot of ways.
Yeah, speaking of new consoles, have you heard of the Atari VCS?
Yes, I've heard of that bullshit, but
It,
I don't
it
think it's
is.
ever really.
I have a feeling it really is bullshit.
Well, the thing is that Atari technically doesn't exist.
Exactly. I mean, they're kind of gone as a company, and it's really just some guy who bought the domain name.
Well, it's actually usually some guy who bought like the rights to everything and stuff. You know?
Yeah. So yeah, I've seen the what was it, the GoFundMe video, and it looked weird. Not even in a new console sort of way. I mean, they just showed how it's built up, and it's like, wait a minute, was this thing built up in slices? Who builds any machine like that?
Um. Clearly you're not. Clearly, we're dealing with gods among men, beings who go beyond the call of duty.
Oh yeah, and then they're putting in like a wood grain look on it just to give it that nostalgic look, as if this might have been made back in the 70s, but it's actually geared towards this generation.
Yeah, that's true.
And yeah, and already people are finding faked photos or videos where it's like they faked playing a game on it.
Dude, I'm not shocked, but this whole thing has always been suspect. Whenever I hear about Atari stuff, I'm like, okay, what's the cash grab element? Because hell, I think if we actually ended up making money in a couple of years, we could probably buy out all the Atari bullshit and then start marketing it and shit. Maybe
Yeah.
even do a better job of it. Honestly, I would love to buy out Atari just to see if I could get a hold of Shadow Man. No, at this point, like getting a hold of Shadow Man is impossible since I think that Sony technically owns it now.
Oh, well.
Um, well,
R.I.P. Shadow Man then.
well, let me actually explain. Since Shadow Man it was technically part of the Valiant comic bullshit stuff that went along with it,
Yeah.
it basically, it basically is not technically part of that whole thing. So fun times, right?
Yeah. But but yeah, I remember the Shadow Man video game, which was pretty interesting for the time. Although I think it got a lot of bad rep, or at least the PlayStation version did.
Oh yeah, no, they did. And look, the PC version actually did get some good reviews back in the day. I remember, but yeah, no, like, look, it was good enough that it got a sequel,
Yeah.
which I heard was pretty good. So you know, like, not like impossible. The only other success from that Valiant buyout was Turok, of course, and that's a whole other can of worms that went into some very weird directions over the decades.
Yeah, I feel like that was like during that era where everyone was having more or less a jungle fever when it comes to comics and games. Like everything had to take place in a jungle.
Well, I think it was also with Turok. It was also what they had to adapt because you have to also keep in mind what Turok was that it was a comic book first,
Oh yeah.
which
I mean,
honestly
just
I
look
had
at the Unreal games. It's like it's always a jungle with these people, even if it's on a different planet.
might be color palettes and shit like that. Green looks better.
Yeah.
Like that's always kind of a case of just technical limitations are often like, okay, what looks best versus blah 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 blah, and you have to make a choice, and then it's like, okay. We're a jungle planet, guys. Hip hip hooray.
Which means now we get to have alien dinosaurs.
Yes. Alien dinosaurs are my favorite thing. But it is what it is at the moment. Like that's kind of like
And hey, let's
that's
have
what.
our Star Fox game take place on a jungle planet with lizard people.
Fair enough. But yeah, no, like lizard people and all that stuff. Honestly, I have to call out Chuck Wending from what's his name? Freaking um, the writer who caused that whole internet thing. He actually wrote a Turok comic that did shockingly bad, which was so you have to understand one thing about Turok is that he's one of like the few like Native American characters in comics, and he was created in the 1950s. So this was before like major upheaval in that genre like coalesced, right?
Yeah.
So pretty big deal, like a 1950s. Chuck decided to turn the only African, the
The
only
only
Native
Native American character.
character African American.
Yeah.
It was embarrassing on all fronts. I was shocked because, look, it'd be one thing if he was turning him into like a less, like a less, well-known population. That's fine. Or if he was turning him into like another Native American tribe specifically, you know, okay, fine, like still part of that region type thing. But he turned him African American, and I was just like, oh, you turned the only like major native character African American. Like seriously, how dumb do you have to be?
Like, dude, just bring back Shadow Man.
Shadow Man has been brought back several times actually,
Yeah.
so it's not too unusual to see him again. But Turok is also not part of that technically, which is again a whole comic history bullshit. To give you kind of like details, it boils down to so Turok actually belongs to what are called the Gold Key characters,
Huh.
and Gold Key was this comic publisher back in the 1960s. Various publishers, anyway, they were kind of a slightly high. I would call them like a mid-tier publisher, probably is the best way of putting it. Because while they weren't exactly low quality, they weren't exactly like Marvel and DC.
Yeah.
So anyway, this mid-tier publishing company made their own superhero line, and Turok was kind of part of that too. So it was Turok, Doctor Solar, and other characters. Anyway, so they were sold to Valiant, and then when Acclaim bought Valiant, they got the license to them. It's a whole thing. Welcome to comics and the complex history. I'm happy to explain bullshit to you people like this. But I'm a huge fan of Turok and all that jazz. It's one of my, there's some pretty good comics there. But it's yeah, no, like in all seriousness, it is what it is. Honestly, if I could buy Atari, I'd probably be like, all right, guys, time to remake Pitfall.
Yeah. I like how we started off talking about the Atari VCS, and then we suddenly went all the way into Turok, just because it's like, well, I think we already covered all the main points on on the VCS very quickly.
Well, like, what can you say? It's probably a scam.
Yeah, it probably is. I mean,
Like,
okay. I get. It looks like they're banking on nostalgia for the most part.
like if we could probably, I imagine that if we really tried hard, we could like come up with like 10,000 reasons why it's like this is awful. But I got like, it's probably a scam. It's probably gonna die
Yeah,
horribly.
I'm also reminded of the Ouya how
Well,
that one died out.
it's the Ouya but retro.
Yeah, it's pretty much the Ouya Tuya at this point. And I've
The
seen some of the gameplay footage. It looks like they've just got a bunch of indie games on it, but it looks
yeah.
like stuff that you could easily find on Steam. It's certainly not something that's gonna compete against like all these AAA consoles. But it makes me wonder. It's like, is it? Are people trying to make consoles an indie thing where everyone has an indie console? Actually, we've seen how that worked. I think JonTron did a video about it with all the plug and play consoles. It's
yeah.
Yeah, it's just weird seeing this thing in like in modern times. Going like, hello, fellow current gen consoles.
Hello, fellow Jenners.
And that's the other thing. I think this well, this Atari company, as it is right now, has already been caught on several other scams where it tried to
Yeah.
sell Chinese knockoffs of consoles. So I don't have much high hopes for this one.
Well, I don't have much high hopes for anything right now.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. It's like I kind of remember Atari just being at this moment known for making video games, not video game consoles anymore.
Uh-huh.
I think they
Yeah.
gave up after their last few consoles, which were named after cats, have failed.
Oh yeah, that's true.
The Lynx, the Jaguar, I forgot what else they did. Probably
They
those
never
two.
did. They never did Puma.
I mean, I was waiting for Panther.
Yeah, but Puma's more interesting. Like
Yeah,
Panther.
but people nowadays would mistake it for Warthog.
Actually, you know something? They never did do. They also never did Cheetah either.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
That
there's
that that would be their online game console, the one that has a fast connection speed. The Atari Cheetah, fastest connection on the market.
either that, or it's like their Game Genie, a rip off the Atari Cheetah.
Oh yeah, where they release Action 52 with the new Cheetah Men.
Oh god, that was such a disaster for them.
Oh yeah, that's. Ugh. And then they released their handheld, the Atari Kitten.
The Atari Litten. That that sounds really good, actually. God, there's so many like disastrous like cons stuff. Jeez. But yeah, no, like there is a lot of stuff I would personally like to say is just awful, but it is what it is, you know. Oh, like, but yeah, like that's kind of the Atari right now. Like, I mean, there's not really much we can say other than you kind of know the drill here.
Yeah,
Like, it's probably a scam. It's probably meant to get like consumers, you know, like money. I imagine it's like I imagine basically right now it's just like Mark, give me money. I'm the Atari, and
Cheetah
just
Man sounded like a failed Thundercats rival. It probably was, AJ. It was part of Action 52, that game, that NES cartridge game that had 52 games on it. It was kind of like supposed to be Ninja Turtles knockoff, but with cheetahs.
yeah, basically it was that whole thing. It was not good, not good. But
What if
uh,
Sega decided to go back to making a game console?
uh, not likely, but I could easily see it. Well, okay, let me put it this way: Sega has been making a lot of terrible decisions from past couple. Like, in all seriousness, it's not Sega unless they make some terrible financial decisions.
Yeah.
And I say this as a guy who's starting to appreciate their Earthview. Like, I've been I like the Yakuza series a lot. It's one of my favorite game series right now. I'm not gonna lie and be like, man, you know what? Sega has always made the best financial. No, 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 no. They have not. For one, the fact that they never hired on the Sonic Mania team at all, completely, is one of the most shockingly backwards decisions I could ever see a company make. But then again, I could also see it being a pride thing. This man made a better Sonic game than us. We are shamed. And then they just commit suicide right there. And then the guy's like, "Where's my money?" It's like, "We are now dead. You made something better." And it's kind of like Sega in a nutshell. Like, they would just kind of, no offense, kind of fuck it up. You know?
Like,
Like,
fuck it. We'll just keep putting attachments to our game console.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember those days.
Hmm. Yeah,
Uh, although
basically.
looking back, I mean, a lot of the Sega games, I mean, they seem to have a very arcade style feel to them.
Oh, yeah. No, they started out in the arcades.
Yeah, it was called Service Games originally. I mean, they used to make arcade games.
It was, there's Outrun. Hell, until this year, Sega still had arcades operating in Japan.
Yeah.
Until the COVID hit.
Oh yeah, that's probably killed a lot of arcades as of late.
Well, dude, if it didn't kill arcades, if if the consoles didn't kill arcades, then that probably did.
I think arcades have more or less migrated over to maybe cell phones.
Um, well, arcades as we know them are now kind of like nostalgia niche.
Yeah.
Like, or here's the thing, or you do Dave and Buster's, where it's like you go big, you make it a whole family experience type thing. Kind of basically, you have to kind of make it a mini theme park.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah, since that's what you have to do in this dark day and age we call life. Ain't that right?
Yeah, I kind of
But
miss the old days of arcade games though.
a lot of people do. I do too. Um,
Yeah, back then there were like three main platforms of video games. There's your PC games, your arcade games, and your console games.
well, you had you did something and you feel like,
Yeah. Which kind
look,
of
I
which kind of fostered three kinds of people. I mean,
well,
your kids who like to play with action figures, they played the console games with all the platformer games. I say like jump everything around on tables and everything. The kids who are freaking Dungeons and Dragons nerds played the PC games with all the simulations and everything. And the kids who beat you up for your lunch money, they played the arcades.
well, it really just depended on what you could afford.
Yeah.
Like consoles and compute. Like, okay, so computers were kind of like a luxury item for a long time. Let's not remember that. Consoles had to pretend to be a toy, but they're slightly a luxury. And then you had the arcades where you just had to go somewhere, get a couple quarters, and play for a bit. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, that's where
like
all the skateboard kids hang out and get to compare their high score. Go like, dude, check this out. Can you beat that?
Either that, or you get into fighting games and tournaments and bullshit like that.
Yeah, they foster a far more competitive nature.
Well, they had to, but like the reason arcades were able to stay out for so long was because for a while they really did have the most advanced graphics, so they tended to look the best. But when home consoles started to catch up, it became why.
Yeah. Eh. And then
So
when
they
home consoles start to catch up with PCs, that's when PC gaming and console gaming kind of started to try to meld together and slow each other down.
well,
Mainly the
honest,
PC games.
well, honestly, a couple of things is that happened was that I would say that that was what was holding PC gaming back. You want to know what I actually think was holding it back?
But
Japanese developers, believe it or not. And this was okay. I really shouldn't say this like holding back, but a lot of PC games were not available. Like Japanese games were mostly console. Now this isn't including like visual novels and shit like that, but a lot of them were actually console stuff. Japan just had a bigger console scene. So it was very hard to kind of meld the two to an extent. Western stuff, yes, there was plenty of stuff. Honestly, you want to know what sucks on PC right now? Believe it or not, think about it like this: Madden.
yeah.
Like, I don't think like I does Madden exist on PC at all?
And AJ, if I could find a good singer, I'll make a parody of some kind. But
I'm just saying.
yeah.
I don't think Madden or any of the major sports styles actually exists on PC at the moment. I'll check. Okay, time to check Steam.
I'm pretty sure there are sports games on Steam. That's the thing.
I know.
But you gotta remember what the PC is good for. They're good for all these number crunchings and calculations. I mean, that that's why you get like RPG games on PCs mostly, and that's why you get like flight sims and other simulation games on PCs. Even city builder sims are mostly on PC.
Yeah,
I mean, good
that's
luck trying
fair.
to run Dwarf Fortress on Xbox. I mean, it's the kind of stuff that you would need to use like all of your keyboard. You can't just use a gamepad controller.
I okay, I was wrong. Madden is on Steam.
But yeah, but where console games used to shine was the sheer simplicity of their gameplay because they had to simplify everything. Whereas like, okay, you can move, you can jump. What can we do with that? And they milked what little they have to the ends of the earth and made some of the most creative level designs. Just to cater to just simplify controls. I mean, just look at Super Mario Brothers 3. Look at Super Metroid. I mean, all this stuff. Hell, you could just compare games like Turok to Quake, and you could see the difference in how they utilize the engine.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was back in the day when PC games and console games were separated by a wrought iron fence.
Oh yeah.
And
Well,
and it was all based on preference in terms of what kinds of games you were into. But now everything has to be cross platform.
hmm yep, not a problem. But
Uh,
anyway,
oh
but
yeah.
like, but like I said, it's just always been an evolving thing. I was like, honestly, I just never hear about Madden on the PC, so I was like, is it like available on the PC? So it's like, I probably should have guessed it was, but it's like,
Yeah, I see no reason why it wouldn't be. Because
no.
it's another market that they can make money off of. But
Honestly, I'm shocked that honestly I don't know how they could make money off it, but then again, I just think it wouldn't have the modding scene because here's the thing, like it would impress me if it did have a modding scene because it would be like,
Yeah.
so. But yeah, no, like it's just one of those things of just sports, 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 sports.
This is what happens when you let dude bros enter your gaming community.
Look, they're always going to be there around. You just have to learn how to deal with them like gnats.
In fact,
And some
I kind of blame the arcade scenes for letting the dude bros in, because that's where you originally got your sports games and your fighting games.
Well, I don't mind the dude bros, if only because they can make fun of Movie Bob.
Yeah.
Oh God, I just oh okay. Now I mentioned in my mind we'll talk about this drama because my
Oh,
God,
oh my God! Do we really have to?
uh, come on, let's do it. It's the most look.
It's something to talk about. All right. Well,
Do you know what I'm talking about?
yes, I know.
Okay, so Nostalgia Chick was making a thread about some bullshit, and Movie Bob butted in, saying that they were friends, and then she responded that they were not, and she doesn't condone anything he says.
Well,
And
it's a
then he
good thing.
lost his account.
It's a good thing too, considering how much he used to promote eugenics.
He's seen it like that is one of the most weirdest fucking things I've ever seen.
Yeah, yeah, I get it. Movie Bob is kind of awkward around women,
No,
but
honestly,
holy crap, dude.
dude, like, okay, let me put it this way, man. Look, it's not even like, look, if it was like anyone else, I might be more sympathetic to them, but it's Movie Bob. And
Yeah, it is Movie Bob.
so, like, look, some people are awkward around women, and that's perfectly fine. I get it. And some people need to learn how to be better. I definitely need to look how to learn how to be better. Everyone kind of does, and we shouldn't shame people on that end. But it's also Movie Bob, and Movie Bob's kind of an asshole.
Yeah, yeah, he is.
Um,
Movie, there are no bad tactics, only bad targets. Bob. Move.
movie Magneto was right, Bob.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I'm Jewish, and I don't even think Magneto's that right sometimes.
I'm like, holy crap. Uh,
Like, in all seriousness, I remember like one thing I read by him that argued that Magneto should be black, which was a weird thing. But then again, I've always been one of those guys who's been like,
why is
please.
every character in media getting blackfaced?
Well, my issue is basically like, please don't take my only Jewish representation, supervillain Cool Daddy, away from me. I like him way too much, and if that sounds weird, but it's like this. Magneto's like literally like my only non-stereotypical supervillain, like character. Like he's Jewish. He became evil because of the Holocaust. Like there's so much complexity to him. I don't want to lose that part of my heritage.
Ah,
People
jeez.
are like, well, and people are like, oh, Magneto is too old. And it's like, explain that he ages slower. Fuck.
Yeah, comic writers, this is coming from a black man here. We've got enough representation already. You don't need to start race swapping everyone.
Well, I'm like,
Just just
look,
give us Shadow Man back.
my issue boils down to this. I don't think it's. I'm okay with race swapping if you're not. If the character is generic enough and doesn't really have too much of a background to really play into them. You
Yeah.
know? But if it's like a Jewish German dude, I'm like, no, you're not taking that away from me. Fuck you. He's mine.
Yeah. I'm like, Holy crap.
I'm going to
Or a
defend.
Jewish German dude who had mutant powers who was in the Holocaust. How did the Nazis just not dissect him on the spot?
They didn't know about mutants at the time, and his powers weren't like shown. What happened? Like basically, it's like this. A lot of it they didn't. For one thing, at best, it was just like weird movement around him, and he didn't find out about his powers until like he was left for dead, essentially. So it's like, what could they really do with that info? They didn't know mutants were a thing. Plus, it's like this. Oh, it's the German. Oh, it's the German devil. We have to kill him, Hans. Oh, Franz, I don't know. That seems like a bad idea. He could kill us all. No, Hans, we have to kill him. He is going to destroy us all with his weird Jew powers. No, I think that would be a bad idea. Oh, God, he just stabbed me through the heart with a metal beam. I knew this would happen. I just knew. And that's the story of Magneto in a nutshell. But uh, like, what can you do sometimes? It is what it is, and you have to kind of just deal with it.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, look, I just don't want my representation to be taken away from me. And that's really it. I find Magneto to be a very important character to me, and as weird as that sounds, so yeah, no, you're not getting Magneto, bitch. And I'm putting this down in writing. You don't get him. He's mine. Please. But yeah, fuck movie Bob. He locked his account. And man, maybe one day we'll read passages from his book just because they're delightfully pathetic.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He wrote a book.
Yes.
And at the end of his videos, he always puts that annoying animation that keeps going like, buy my book! Buy my book!
Well, not anymore. Like, the book was an embarrassment for him overall because he sold it, I would say, actually kind of fucked up in a way. Um, which okay, so he sold it as a book about breaking down everything about Super Mario 3, which is kind of a neat idea for a book, honestly. You could actually that's actually sound.
Uh oh. Uh oh. What's going on? Oh, shit.
Oh Jesus! Oh Jesus! Oh God! And it's just pathetic. It's bad.
That was a bad time for my computer to start hitching. It just
It's
it just kind of like froze for a brief second. Everything went quiet, and then we went back to you saying that.
oh wow. Okay. But anyway, movie Bob blows. But you know, that's just what it is. This is an interesting drama, and honestly keeps me warm in my heart. But I'm sure there's other things we can talk about. I'm sure it's not like
Yeah, let's get to like some extra cringe. Now, this is something I'm gonna have to like start reading out loud. I mean, there are various passages I've seen here. I think I'll start with this one.
okay.
As I'm writing this, it looks very likely that Joe Biden will be our next president. But it's clear that the worst people aren't going away just because of new old white man is sitting behind the resolute desk. Well, at least not this old white man. Our government is fundamentally broken in a way that necessitates radical change rather than incremental electoralism.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's just. Do you understand what this guy is writing about right now?
Yeah. Uh huh.
And guess where it
Yeah.
is?
Where? Just tell me.
It's on a PlayStation 5 review on Kotaku.
Really? Oh, fucking A.
And, because of course it's Kotaku.
I thought it was just a random Twitter bullshit. Okay, I actually know what you're talking about because I did see this, but it's also Kotaku, and then it's like I'm being confronted by Kotaku, and I'm just like,
The world is
my,
still reeling under the weight of the COVID-19 pandemic. There are more Americans out of work right now than at any point in the country's history. With no relief in sight, our healthcare system is an inherently evil institution that forces people to ration life savings, medications like insulin, and choose suicide over suffering with untreated mental illness. What the fuck does that have to do with PlayStation 5? Oh my
look,
god.
I'm sorry. Like, okay, you want to know how a writer should handle this bullshit, man? If you really do believe that the world needs help, you don't look. You're not doing the world a favor by reviewing the PlayStation 5 and adding politics bullshit to it. Somebody's trying to find a good review of it and is hoping to find something and hopefully trust you. What you do is basically this. You know what? Hey, I know you're probably focused on PlayStation 5, but there's this charity that could use some help.
Yeah, just do that. What the hell? I I know it's Kotaku, but I'm actually surprised at this. And keep in mind, I am used to seeing weird cringe from game journalists who are really just who are really just into political opinion pieces more than actual game journalism. Like that one guy who was supposed to be reviewing Guitar Hero 5 but ended up talking about Philippine politics. Like, how do you miss the mark that hard?
Basically. But you know, some people are just that terrible.
Oh yeah, and keep in mind, this guy, he was given a review copy of PlayStation 5. He was given a PlayStation 5 to write this. So yeah, money well spent there, Sony.
He had a chance, but honestly, the PlayStation 5 looks like a disaster piece, dude. I was looking at how much hard drive is being. You know how much usable hard drive space you have on the PlayStation 5?
Go ahead, just say it.
600 gigs.
Yeah.
That is.
'Cause
Dude,
yeah, I saw you like had a terabyte uh, external drive hooked up to your PlayStation.
Mike, I don't have a terabyte drive hooked up to my PlayStation. I have a 2 terabyte hard drive.
Yeah. It's like, guy,
I didn't want to run into that shit again.
holy shit. This is like these games do take up space, and very frequently
Look,
we're living in the generation where we have to download an entire game onto our hard drives.
dude, I basically was just like, fuck.
I know, right? But the, but yeah, this is not to mention there's another cringe article that I heard of where one guy apparently was freaking out over the design of the Xbox Series X because of the holes for the ventilation.
Hmm?
I forgot what the phobia was called, but it had something to do with the idea of like maggot holes, and that's what he thinks of the holes in the ventilation system are like. I mean, what is it? I'll have to look for a picture of Xbox Series X just to show you what the holes look like. Even though I already showed like ventilate the the vaping from earlier.
Yeah.
Put simply, yeah, some Kotaku writer was scared of this. The frickin' ventilation holes. Because I think he's afraid of maggots crawling out of them. I don't know. Maybe he's seen too many weird, creepy pictures online or something. And yeah, I get some people have phobias, but maybe you could kind of get past that and just tell us what this console does.
Yeah,
Because that shouldn't be like a huge part of your article. It's like, okay, I get it. You're freaked out by the design. But yeah,
dude.
this also
I
kind of reminds me back when I used to read video game magazine. One person wrote to a game magazine saying that he he has arachnophobia and he freaked out because he saw a spider on their front cover,
Mhm.
which I find more understandable. But yeah, that happens. But that's like a consumer. That's like a consumer writing back to a publisher. It's not a full on journalist.
Yeah, of course. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
I actually got to get going right now because I have some issues to be taken care of in my life
Oh dear.
right now. I know life got to me.
Yeah, don't we all have lives?
I know, right?
All right. Well, uh, we're at a 47-minute mark, so I think it's close enough to about an hour or so.
Yeah, I wish I could, but unfortunately, right now I got to take care of one or two things.
All right. Signing off here.
Signing off
Th-
here,
This
man.
this is the state of our journalism, guys. Get
Yep,
used to it.
basically. Have a good one.
Later, folks.